Welcome to the Paranormal Lens podcast presented by Jott-Nyx Paranormal. I am Jamie Widener. I will be your host tonight, along with Chad Thomas over there,
Somewhere. I'm here.
and Kirstin up there. Kirstin Truccano, that is. My friends, how are you tonight? What's shaking?
I'm good. Yeah.
I'm very good.
Oh, we're starting off great. All right.
No, my husband decided that our intro song is the best thing to dance to.
Hey, what's up?
Whoa.
Feel free to ask me about.
All right.
Well, Jamie dances to it every week.
I do. Actually, it used to be a lot worse than where it is now.
I mean, we both kind of just bob along to it.
Yeah. Oh, I used to be like air drumming and everything. I was getting psyched for, getting ready to go.
Does that mean it's time for a new intro song?
Maybe.
Oh no.
Oh, maybe.
Anyway, we'll have to work on that.
Well, maybe. Let's converse. We'll have our people talk.
Yeah.
Something like that. Oh, gosh. Yeah, so hey, look, I'm going to warn y'all. I have spent the last several days dying of a cold. So I'm better now, but you can probably hear the tone. And I have no idea how this is going to go because I am heavily medicated. So if on the odd chance I actually conk out from it, just tap on the screen or something, I'm sure I'll wake up. Right?
All right.
But I also have a mute button for the sneezing that may happen or whatever else. So trying to get through it, but bear with me. I apologize in advance.
You know what, Jamie? It's unacceptable.
I should just go home.
Just go home.
I am home. Never mind. Well, now what should I do?
Well, where's the intern, Alex? Last second pop in.
Where is Alex? Right. That's Sid. Where's Jerry? Where's Alex?
Where's Alex?
He's smart. He's nowhere near us. But
That's true. So.
Yeah. So how was your week, guys? It's been a minute since we got together.
It was a normal week. I didn't have anything to do Sunday. It was great. Like, I slept in.
Oh, wow. That's like found time, right?
Yeah, exactly.
As an adult, that's gold.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Congratulations.
Yep.
It's been a week. Final Saturday fair rehearsal. So that's always fun because, I get to run around on a stage while it's exploding around me. Even more fun. But, yeah, I mean, tomorrow's the last rehearsal, and then it's Ren Fair for 13 weeks.
It's on, yeah.
I'm sure Zoe will be there at some point this year.
Oh, absolutely, and M as well, and that means us as well. So,
Yep.
Yeah, I'll start saving that bad produce a while, things to toss at you.
Oh yeah, right on the Mike's show that I'm in.
Yeah, that'd be great. No,
Yeah, sure.
Never.
It's great.
I am looking forward to getting again. It's always a fun event. For those who don't know, Central Pennsylvania, the Ren Fair here is one of the better ones around. And well, we say so because you're in it.
Yeah.
We're a little biased that way, but also people come from all over for it. So it's a really cool. It'll be the day you remember going forward. So
yeah, it's going to be a good season.
There's always something new. That's the best part.
Oh, well, I mean, this year's a new queen.
Ah, all right. Well, some things to look forward to.
And I mean, I'm back.
And that, of course.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, best part.
Oh yeah.
That's the fun. This is how we are biased. So
it's okay. There's 2 Ren Fairs in Pennsylvania, and I think the one in Mannheim is the best one.
Well, I know people who have traveled from Pittsburgh to Mannheim, and the other one's out that way. So
Allegheny County somewhere.
I mean, it always happens. We will have the Pittsburgh Ren Fair cast will come out one of the final weekends, and so does the New York Ren Fair cast. And it's always great because we can tell who they are because they are the loudest ones for all the stage shows. Like, they cheer loud.
I'm thinking it's like a version of West Side Story where you're both standing on separate lines, like snapping your fingers at each other.
So,
and then like a dance line breaks out.
About 4 years ago, I was hosting Peasant Dance, And the New York Ren Fair cast came and tried to take over the show, and I looked at them and I'm like, I will fight you all right now. So, in a sense, it was like a West Side Story.
Ooh, all right.
So yeah, Stefan says that's awesome, and I think it is great that you have that camaraderie, that they come out and help celebrate what you're doing and stuff like that. So that's
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, it's the thing I found out with the Ren Fair, like especially over like these past 2 weeks, it's a family.
Hmm.
2 weeks ago, someone who was a big part of the Ren Fair, she passed away suddenly from a terminal illness that she had, and it was really humbling and amazing to see the amount of people that this woman touched. And it's a family, like everyone's come together to help pay the medical expenses to help her mother and her husband and everything. So yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
Not that she's passed, but the
No,
family,
but
family concept, the community concept.
it's an amazing community, and I'm very grateful to be a part of it. You know, much like the paranormal community.
Well, we're both communities are better with you in it.
Oh, thanks.
That's as nice as I'm going to get. That's the cold medicine talking, I swear.
That's okay, Jamie.
Well, hey, as much as we could talk about the Ren Fair all night, right? We probably could.
That's
we probably
next week.
should move on to a topic of choice tonight.
Before we do that, we want to say hi to Paula.
Hey, Paula. Good evening.
Paula's there, and Bert has joined us from Madison, Virginia.
Ooh,
So Bert and Heather, and maybe the kids too. Maybe they're making a family night of it.
nice.
So, and Stefan's been with us, but he said that's good to hear about how the Ren Fair is just a good family. So, but
Absolutely.
anyway, Jamie, sorry to walk all over
No,
you there.
we
Go
got-
ahead.
Comments are an important part of this. We love the feedback, so please keep them coming. We're gonna go a little farther away than usual tonight, and a little off the path, quite literally. So we're going to talk about Coiba Island Penal Colony, and the first thing we always do, or at least I always do, is say where are we in the world, and go Coiba Island, obviously, but off the west coast of Panama. So we're out in the Pacific Ocean, about 20 miles off the coast, and here we go. Long before stories of ghosts echoed through abandoned prison blocks, before rusted iron bars stood beneath tangled vines, and before whispers of tortured souls drifted through the tropical darkness, Coiba Island was simply another untouched paradise in the Pacific Ocean. Roughly 20 miles off Panama's southwestern coast, Coiba is the largest island in Central America. Dense rainforests blanket steep hills that descend toward white sand beaches and mangrove swamps. Scarlet macaws streak through the jungle canopy, while howler monkeys announce the sunrise with thunderous cries. Saltwater crocodiles glide silently through river mouths, and sharks patrol coral reefs beneath crystal clear water. For thousands of years, indigenous peoples occasionally visited the island to hunt and fish, but Coiba was never heavily settled. Its isolation made permanent habitation difficult. Powerful currents, unpredictable weather, and dense jungle discouraged all but the most determined explorers. When Spanish explorers arrived during the 16th century, they recognized Coiba's strategic location, but found little reason to establish a colony. The island remained largely untouched, while the Spanish concentrated their efforts on the mainland. That isolation, however, would eventually become Coiba's defining characteristic. An island difficult to reach is also difficult to escape. In the early 20th century, Panama's government found a terrible use for such a place. In 1919, the Panamanian government officially established the Coiba Island Penal Colony. The location has been chosen for one reason above all others: escape was nearly impossible. Unlike traditional prisons surrounded by concrete walls, armed towers, and razor wire, Coiba relied upon nature itself. The Pacific Ocean formed the first barrier. Treacherous currents formed the second. Sharks provided a terrifying third. Beyond the beaches waited dense tropical forests filled with venomous snakes, crocodiles, poisonous insects, and terrain so unforgiving that few unfamiliar with it could survive for long. Officials believed no prison could be more secure. Instead of constructing one enormous prison complex, authorities scattered dozens of camps across the island. Prisoners often lived in crude wooden barracks surrounded by jungle rather than stone buildings. Many of these camps specialized in forced labor. Convicts cut timber, others cleared jungle, some worked fields under relentless tropical sun. Others built roads that seemed to disappear back into the rainforest almost as quickly as they were completed. The prison quickly developed a brutal reputation. Punishment was harsh, medical care was minimal, and food was often inadequate. And isolation from family could last for years. For many inmates, Coiba felt less like serving a sentence and more like disappearing from the world entirely. The mainland gradually forgot them. Perhaps that was the point. The comparisons come naturally. Around the world, people began referring to Coiba as Panama's Devil's Island, invoking comparisons to the infamous French penal colony off the coast of South America. Like its namesake, Coiba became synonymous with suffering. Each day followed a punishing routine. Before sunrise, guards awakened the prisoners. Breakfast was meager. Work lasted until exhaustion. The tropical climate offered little relief. Temperatures climbed rapidly, and humidity wrapped itself around prisoners like a heavy blanket. Clothing remained soaked with sweat. Mosquitoes attacked relentlessly, carrying diseases through the camps. Failure to meet expectation often resulted in punishment. Former prisoners later described beatings, solitary confinement, and exhausting labor details. Hope became the rarest commodity of the island. The jungle itself seemed determined to break the human spirit. Rainstorms arrived without warning. Trees towered overhead, shutting out much of the sunlight. Strange animal calls echoed through the darkness after sunset. Many prisoners admitted that nighttime frightened them more than the daylight, not because of what they could see, but because of what they couldn't. Everything became even darker under General Omar Torrijos came to power during the late 1960s. Although Coiba had long housed violent criminals, it increasingly became a destination for political prisoners and individuals viewed as enemies of the government. Some inmates disappeared into remote prison camps where little outside oversight existed. Human rights organizations would later criticize conditions inside the penal colony, describing forced labor, violence, and widespread abuse. Several former inmates claimed guards ruled through intimidation. Others spoke of executions. Some accounts alleged prisoners were simply taken into the jungle and never returned. Documenting every allegation has proven difficult. The island's isolation meant few outsiders witnessed daily life, and officials' records remained incomplete. Yet one fact is beyond dispute. Fear became one of the prison's primary tools. The jungle swallowed secrets as effectively as it swallowed surrounding buildings. Years later, visitors walking forgotten trails would occasionally stumble across collapsed structures whose histories had nearly vanished. Some camps disappeared beneath vines so completely that only fragments of concrete hinted people had once lived and suffered there. Stories of escape circulated constantly among inmates. Most ended in tragedy. Swimming to the mainland meant battling miles of open ocean. Strong currents frequently pushed swimmers far from shore. Sharks inhabited surrounding waters. Those who reached neighboring islands still faced dense jungle with little food or fresh water. Even if they survived nature, guards often tracked escapees using boats and local knowledge. One story tells of prisoners fashioning crude rafts from driftwood. Others supposedly stole small fishing boats. Many attempts failed before reaching open water. Some escapees were captured within days. Others were never found. Whether they drowned, succumbed to the jungle, or somehow reached freedom remains unknown. The uncertainty fueled countless rumors. Every disappearance became another mystery. Every mystery became another legend. Prisoners learned that surviving Coiba often meant accepting that the islands always had the advantage. After decades of operation, international criticism continued to grow. Changing political conditions eventually led Panama to reconsider the future of Coiba. During the 1990s, the prison population steadily declined. Finally, in 2004, the penal colony officially closed. For the first time in nearly 85 years, the sounds of prison life disappeared. No whistles signaled morning labor, no cell doors slammed shut, no guards shouted orders through the camps. Nature immediately began reclaiming everything. Roofs collapsed beneath tropical rains, Tree roots cracked concrete foundations. Vines climbed rusting prison walls. Birdsong replaced human suffering. Today, Coiba National Park is recognized as one of the world's greatest natural treasures. Declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the island protects extraordinary biodiversity both on land and beneath the surrounding sea. Scientists study species found nowhere else, while divers travel from around the world to experience its remarkable marine life. Yet, amid this remarkable recovery, reminders of another era remain. The abandoned prison buildings still stand. Peeling paint clings to cracked walls. Rusted bars frame empty windows. Hospital wards sit abandoned. Cells remain open to the humid air. Visitors who walk these silent corridors often describe an overwhelming feeling that history has not entirely left the island. Some say the buildings simply preserve memories. Others believe they preserve something else. Because when darkness settles over Coiba, many insist the island is no longer occupied solely by wildlife. They claim the prison never truly emptied. The prisoners merely changed. The jungle has a rhythm all its own. During the day, Coiba feels alive with movement. Scarlet macaws flash through the canopy like living frames. White-faced Chapucan monkeys, there we go again, Steve last week, chatter from the trees, and waves crash steadily across the rocky shores. The air is thick with the scent of salt water, wet earth, and tropical flowers. But as evening settles over the island, something changes. The birds grow silent, the wind softens, even the insects seem to pause. For many visitors, it is simply another transition from day to night in the rainforest. For others, it marks the beginning of something far less ordinary. Tour guides, park staff, fishermen, and the occasional overnight visitor have shared stories that are remarkably similar despite being told years apart. They speak of an uneasy feeling that settles over the abandoned prison after sunset, a sensation of being watched by unseen eyes. Few claim certainty about what causes it. Some attribute it to the imagination. Standing inside a prison where generations suffered is enough to unsettle anyone. The peeling paint, rusted bars, and empty corridors invite the mind to fill the silence with memories. Others are not convinced psychology explains everything. They say the prison is not empty, at least not completely. The abandoned prison buildings remain much as they were left. Iron bars hang crooked on rusted hinges. Concrete walls are stained by decades of humidity. Tree roots push through cracked floors as nature slowly reclaims what people abandoned. Yet according to numerous accounts, visitors are sometimes joined by invisible companions. One recurring story involves footsteps. People exploring the prison have reported hearing measured footsteps echoing down hallways behind them. The sounds resemble heavy boots walking across old concrete. When they turn, nothing. The footsteps stop. Moments later, they begin again from another hallway. Some visitors have described hearing the metallic clang of cell doors closing, even though the doors themselves no longer move freely. Others tell of hearing keys jingling, an unmistakable sound in the place once controlled by guards carrying rings of heavy iron keys. No one is ever found holding them. One conservation worker, reported refusing to enter one particular building after repeatedly hearing voices that seemed to call his name from empty rooms. Another claimed to hear distant conversations in Spanish inside structures that had stood vacant for decades. Whenever he investigated, the rooms were empty. The silence that followed felt even louder. Perhaps the most persistent legend concerns the prisoners themselves. Witnesses have described seeing figures standing in doorways or behind barred windows. Usually they appear only for an instant. A man wearing prison clothing, someone seated quietly inside a cell, a silhouette watching from the end of a hallway. Then they disappear. Some accounts describe these apparitions as solid enough to mistake for living people. Only after blinking, or walking closer, does the observer realize no one is there. One frequently repeated story tells of a visitor photographing an abandoned building. Later, while reviewing the images, he noticed that appeared to be a man standing behind a barred window. The room had been empty. Another tale speaks of a dark figure walking slowly through the prison yard before fading into the surrounding jungle. Whether these stories are literal encounters or products of expectation remains impossible to determine. yet they persist. Each new witness unknowingly adds another thread to Coiba's growing tapestry of legends. And not every reported apparition appears to be a prisoner. Some witnesses claim that they have encountered what appears to be a prison guard. Descriptions vary remarkably little. A man dressed in an old-style uniform, heavy boots, a flashlight or lantern, and a slow, deliberate walk through the prison grounds. Several stories claim the figure disappears the moment someone approaches. Others say he simply turns a corner and cannot be found despite there being nowhere to go. One ranger reportedly believed another employee was checking buildings after dark. After following the mysterious figure for several minutes, he reached the end of the corridor. No one was there. The hallway ended at a door that was locked from the other side. Stories like these are impossible to verify, but on Coiba, uncertainty seems to fuel belief rather than diminish it. Now, paranormal investigators often speak of a concept known as residual haunting. Rather than spirits interacting with the living, residual hauntings are thought to be emotional recordings left behind by intense human experiences. Whether such a phenomenon exists remains unproven, yet few places seem better suited to inspire the idea than Coiba. Over 85 years, thousands of people experienced fear, isolation, grief, violence, and hopelessness within these walls. Some died there. While the exact number is unknown, the belief is that at least 300 people perished while incarcerated or trying to escape. Others disappeared without explanation. Many left carrying emotional scars that lasted a lifetime. Even skeptics acknowledge that places with difficult histories can evoke powerful emotional responses. Architecture influences perception. Silence amplifies imagination. Knowledge shapes expectation. When someone walks through an abandoned prison, knowing what occurred there, every creaking floorboard feels significant. Every gust of wind sounds like a whisper. Every shadow invites a second look. Perhaps that explains the experience people report. Perhaps it doesn't. Coiba offers no easy answers, only questions. Well, today, Coiba presents one of history's greatest contradictions. Above the water lies one of the most biologically diverse islands in the Americas. Below the surface swim the whale sharks, sea turtles, dolphins, manta rays, and vibrant schools of tropical fish. Scientists come to study evolution. Divers arrive seeking untouched coral reefs. Birdwatchers search for species found nowhere else on Earth. Nature has reclaimed much of the island with astonishing speed. Yet scattered among this paradise stand silent reminders of humanity's darker impulses. The prison walls remain. The hospital still stands. Cell blocks slowly surrender to vines and moss. Visitors often leave speaking not only about the wildlife, but also about the strange emotional weight of the abandoned colony. Some describe profound sadness. Others report an overwhelming sense of respect. Few leave convinced they encounter something they cannot explain. Whether Coiba is generally haunted may never be answered. Ghost stories rarely offer proof. Instead, they preserve memory. They remind future generations that beneath every legend lies a human story. The prisoners of Coiba were real. The suffering was real. The isolation was real. The fear was real. Perhaps that is why the haunting endures. Not because restless spirits wander the abandoned prison, but because history itself refuses to be forgotten. As moonlight filters through broken windows and vines creep across rusted bars, Coiba continues to exist between two worlds. One is breathtakingly beautiful. The other is forever marked by echoes of those who once believed they would never leave. And on certain quiet nights, when the jungle falls still and the ocean seems to hold its breath, visitors sometimes pause before walking away. Not because they have seen a ghost, but because just for a moment, it feels as though someone is watching them leave. So, if you'd like to go, you can. And this is directly from tourscoiba.com. The island of Coiba is part of Panama and is located off the country's Pacific coast. In the Gulf of Chiriquí, a former penal colony today is part of Coiba National Park, known for its diversity of marine life and jungle animals, such as the white-faced monkeys. Manta rays, whales, and hammerhead sharks inhabit the dive sites of the Damas Reef. We take you to the mysterious prison where beautiful nature has reclaimed its space after years of a dark and eerie past. We offer a visit to the prison and also take you to the beautiful hot springs. Additionally, you can snorkel and enjoy the beach in the crystal clear waters of one of the islands of Coiba National Park. New and clean boats equipped with communication, radios, GPS, and awnings that cover from rain or sun. And there's an asterisk here that says the guide and captain assess weather conditions, tides, and currents before being in Sabaco, where you take off from. So the aforementioned points to visit may change during the tour. Meeting points at 7:50 a.m. and the tour arrival comes back at 4 p.m. They accept payments in cash and credit card, and credit cards have a 7% service fee. Let's go. So let me state my sources and then we'll discuss. First is https://coibanationalpark.com/prison.html. The next https://www.atlasobscura.com/places/coiba-island-penal-colony. https://the-line-up.com/coiba-island-prison. https://nightmarks.com/nightmark/coiba-island-of-Panamas-Pacific Coast. A lot of dashes in there. Wow. https://coibaislandtours.com/archive/249. And lastly, https://strangerarefacts.blogspot.com/2013/12/ghost-of-coiba-island-prison.html. There we are.
That was a mouthful, Jamie.
Oh my. Oh my,
That was
yes.
so much.
Woo. So as you saw slides go by, right? A beautiful place.
Yeah.
Tropical paradise.
Mhm.
And if you didn't know, you wouldn't know until you got there to see the rest of it. It's amazing how we've taken something that is so heavy and so hard for people to become now a tourist attraction. It just amazes me.
We've got some comments. Let me put those up before we get too far into this. Paula said, again, the prisoners are still there in spirit, reliving their lives over and over and never crossing over. Bert said, I used to be a corrections officer. I don't think I would want to work there. Heather said, I've been to Panama and through the canal. The wildlife is beautiful if it's not trying to kill you. Paula also said it's a beautiful place. And she also said, I'm surprised that no one has tried to help the prisoners move on. So
What I've gleaned from this, I think the most interesting thing is that it's really not a paranormal hotspot. You know, it's not a location that people go to like we go to, like White Hill or
Right.
you know any attraction place here. You know, Trans-Allegheny, whatnot. You know, it's not that, and it's possibly because you know it's 20 miles on a boat one way. You know, then there's a cost. You know, which I didn't quite catch what the cost was. I didn't really advertise it, but yeah, maybe there's something to that. But you know, you're also dealing with a different culture, and perhaps it's not what it is for us with the interest and fascination that we have toward the paranormal. It's more of a reverence instead. So I'm speculating to say a lot of that. If anybody's been, I'd love to hear it. You know, what your experience was and why you were there and so forth and all that. You know, obviously it's somewhere we're not likely going to get to. I'd call road trip, but I don't think I want to go, honestly. This is one of those places that I think just needs to be revered and given its place.
Well, didn't you said it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, right?
It is, yes.
And that in itself just should tell you something that
Yes.
it should be respected and
It is a protected location.
Right.
Yep.
From you telling the story and everything, I couldn't see going there because, like you said, it's kind of become this tourist trap, and to me, it feels wrong. And I'm not putting any shame on anyone who has gone to it. I don't think I could.
I think if you go to it with the respect that it deserves, that's
Yeah.
one thing. But again, it's not a place to walk around and go, "Is there anybody here with me?" Like it's more of a place of reverence and respect,
Yeah.
and not not investigating, not digging into. But Bert also said, "Nope, way too hot for me." Um, I was looking at the location of this. And Jamie, I know you're aware, but Kirsten, I don't know if you know or not. I was in Brunei, which is about 5 degrees
Mhm.
north of the equator. This is about the same parallel.
Yeah.
Um, so when you were talking about buildings being overgrown and things like that, when I was there working for a company, we did some installation work, and then that building was abandoned. People went back 2 years later, and the building was all but gone. And this building was built out of concrete. It wasn't just wood and timber. It was a concrete building that the jungle had overtaken in about 2 years. So as you were describing that, I was, and the monkeys and the swamps, like it took me back, Jamie. So I know what the temperature's like. It's, we had 2 seasons. We had hot, and then we had hot and humid. And and monsoons, and it was an amazing experience, but not something I need to go back to. So
I can appreciate that. I'm joking to say this, but I spent a lot of summers in the here in the U.S. in the Gulf states, and every day at 3 o'clock it rained like
mhm.
clockwork. It's within reason, and you felt like you were just everything you were wearing was just stuck to you all day long. And that's many degrees further north than the
Mhm.
equator where you are here and where you were in Brunei. I can't imagine what this feels like. The air just has to be thick, and the heat. It's consistent. You're not really having a season there. It's just hot,
Yep. Yep.
because of the equator.
Mhm.
It's amazing, and it's a perfect place to to put this prison if you wanted to have one anyway.
Yeah.
I can understand it. I think that's kind of goes without saying, but the mind of the people who created this, they really they knew that no one was getting out.
Yep. Yeah. Stefan said, "No go with my northern Eastern European ancestry."
Exactly.
Well, I think you hit on something there, Jamie. They knew what they were doing. They put it there because they weren't going to get out. But it was eventually realized that that's not how we treat people, even prisoners. Um, you know,
Right.
it's not it's not a great way of um, living. So
Well, it allows, even though things change in the time in the 1919 era that this was built, and shortly thereafter, there was the cruelty was accepted, or expected perhaps even, because there was no oversights, there were no rails, to guide
mhm,
what you were able to do. And I think that's one of the benefits that we've had. And maybe I can say this from a first world country kind of thing, perhaps,
right.
but this being what we would consider a third world country, at least in the era, it was jungle law, for lack of a better way of saying it. And
Hmm.
I'm sure there was aggression toward the guards, and in a sense of survival and the preservation sense, they would have to equal to greater violence back to the inmate who was attacking them or aggressive to them,
Yep.
and that just became the way it was. And you I hate to say it like that, but it just, I'm not accepting it or excusing it either way, but it
Right.
was the scale. And so
Yep.
you had no choice but to escalate, and that usually led to injury or death to one of the parties.
Right.
Now, I can't tell you if any guards died. I didn't see any of that evidence, but I have to believe it to be true at some point.
Well,
The discussion's really about the inmates,
right.
um, but I would expect it to go both ways.
I'm sure the guards lived on the island. Like they were 20 miles. They weren't going to be traveling 20 miles by boat every day to get guards out there and swap them back and forth.
I,
Right.
I
So
agree.
So they were exposed to the same dangers that the inmates were. They didn't. It talked about not having stone walls, but there's wild animals. They're like,
Oh, but they did. They had concrete structures, and I'm
okay,
assuming those would be the barracks there because of better
right,
protection than against shacks, kind of built out in the camps. And I can't say that the guards would have stayed in the isolated areas. They probably would have retreated to the central hub,
right,
which would have been more of a
right.
organized area.
But they were still exposed. I
Of
mean,
course, no,
yeah.
yeah, I
So
agree.
I'm sure that there were guards who were injured or killed there as well. So yeah,
I don't want to say road trip this time.
no,
I don't think I can. I can't. I know I can't actually. I won't. I'm with Stefan here on the Northern European heritage. I like hot weather, and I've lived in the Southwest several times through the years, but this one goes a little far and above that for
I'm
me.
okay if it's a dry heat.
it's not in that
Not there.
not that
No.
zone.
I like my dry heat because I'm not dying of sweat.
Yeah. Well, and, that region is one of those regions that takes breaks in the middle of the afternoon.
Sure.
Yeah.
From noon to 2, it was siesta. Or everything shut down except restaurants. Hot as hot.
Well, hot is hot. And I can speak to this. 120 degrees in Phoenix when I lived there was. It's the things you don't think about that get you, and the little things for that matter. Getting in the car, the steering wheel is going to be scalding, so everybody has
Yeah.
a steering wheel cover of some kind. Any hardware or no, I'm sorry, any auto parts store will have this. You find them all kinds of styles, colors, and patterns, whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
It's the seatbelt that you forget about.
Yeah.
The
And the
vinyl
little
strap that's thermonuclear as well, and you pull that bad boy over because you've been trained to do that since the first day you got in a car, right? Habit, just do it, and then you feel the singeing of it against your shirt.
and you think that's bad? That little metal buckle.
The buckle itself, yes. Oh, trauma's coming back to me now.
Mm-hmm.
But
You
there is also a strap for the seatbelt, just for you to know. And sometimes they come as sets with the steering wheel cover, so you can decor your car all the way you want. But yeah, I remember that vividly, forgetting about it, and just almost
Mhm.
crying for the pain.
I mean, currently with the heat we've had here, the amount of times I've burned myself on my own daughter's belt to her car seat because I don't want to burn her, so I'm burning myself. No,
Mm-hmm.
no.
The struggle's real.
Stefan also says mosquitoes and snakes don't respect boundaries.
Yeah. And I'm not that observant. I would end up stepping on a snake and then getting bit.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, and alligators as well. With
Yeah.
anywhere close to the water, you have a reasonable radius there to say you could have an issue, and then again, the one of the points that in the script was like the at night it wasn't what they could see, it what they couldn't see that scared them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, true, Paula. The weather is set for hell. They turned it up to 11.
Yeah. So, and then going in the water, you had the crocodiles, you had the sharks. I'm not sure about there, but that's the equatorial zone of that. We had Portuguese man of war is something else that's in the water
Yeah.
because it's the right temperature all year round. So you have to be careful. You can't. A lot of the stuff you don't see. So
Yeah, and well, until it's too late.
right.
And even I thought about it too. Even the idea of escaping to a nearby island, you're still dealing with exactly the same things. Now you have nothing. Like there's no
Yeah.
organization there. It's just
Right.
you on your own, and there's no food, there's no fresh water. Hopefully it's big enough that there might be a stream somewhere you can find that. However, I always think of the old Tom Hanks movie, Castaway.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
he gets stranded on a desert island basically, and one of the first things he has to do is figure out water. I mean, you can survive without food for quite a while, but water you won't last but days.
Right.
And he finds a spring of some sort, and then of course he starts figuring out how to capture water and all that. And that's when he starts to realize he has a chance. But
Right.
the initial landing there he is woeful because obviously he went through a lot of trauma, plane crash in the ocean, and then things start washing up. And one of them's a person,
Yeah.
I've probably given away the whole movie if you haven't seen it, but it's still worth seeing. Um, but it's that idea, and you are alone. And even if you do survive, how long can you? Because then you still have to find food, you still have to find shelter, things, and you still have to deal with the elements of all of the snakes and
Mm-hmm.
bugs and stuff, and then potentially crocodiles and whatnot on the ground. There's still a whole inherent risk of issues, even if you were lucky enough to swim across a channel to something else. You're out of one. You're out of the frying pan into the fire moment.
Right. Yeah.
Paula shared that her pool is 94 degrees. It feels like a crock pot right now.
That's not a pool.
Yeah, that is. That's a witch's cauldron, perhaps,
Yes.
in a good way. If everybody gets invited over and Paula starts sliding out with some carrots and celery and cutting it up, I'm leaving. Just for the record,
Yeah, I'm out.
that was a Bugs Bunny episode back in the day.
I've seen Hansel and Gretel. I've read it. I know what happens.
Yeah.
Very good.
So, yeah, Jamie, this is definitely an interesting one.
Mhm.
I'm with you. I think there's stuff there. There definitely is things there, but it's a place to be respected and not visited by everybody.
Agreed. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
agreed.
I would say if I'm going to ask the question, is it haunted or is it paranormal? As we turn the lens to it now, is it? What do you think? I'd say yes. I think it's active.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
And I my guess would be it's a lot of residual things probably. I don't know that this is a place where a spirit would want to hang out. I think it's more of that residual, the stone tape theory sort of thing.
Mhm.
Agreed.
So
Good topic. I mean,
yeah.
I didn't know about this, so it was interesting to listen and learn something new.
Yep.
There we go. That's what we do.
Yep. Yeah. Paula agrees. What does everybody else think? And if you're not watching live, send us an email. So, drop a comment on the source you're watching on. We do check it. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, please. Heather says unique topic tonight. Love the education, of course.
So
Ooh.
Very interesting, but don't want to go. Are there any natives to the island? No, there are not. It's not There were local indigenous to the mainland that would occasionally come to the island in the day to hunt, fish, and so forth, but never to stay as far as a colony or any kind of settlement. And even the Spanish conquistadors weren't interested in any kind of a formal post.
and if they weren't interested, it wasn't worth.
Well, it probably didn't have enough strategic location for them, and there certainly wasn't any gold.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
two reasons not to invest in an inhospitable location.
Right.
Sorry. I'm assuming the currents and so forth had
Mm-hmm.
the ocean had more of an issue to this, and
Right.
probably not a harbor of any
Right.
kind, like a natural harbor. So,
And 20 miles from mainland isn't something that's going to help you protect an area or anything like that.
yeah,
It's just
it's a large gap.
too far.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, well, very cool.
Yeah. Good episode.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on. See what we're up to next.
All right.
All
Kirstin,
right.
we're going to throw it to you.
So next week, I'm going to be bringing The Devil Made Me Do It, which is the Arnie Johnson trial. So it's, again, another very interesting one to kind of research about. I said to you guys last week, I love how I time things up because there's a Parajam happening in Gettysburg, and Arnie Johnson's going to be there as a speaker. So get a little bit of his episode and then go hear him talk.
Cool.
And then following up on August 25th, Chad's going to be back with The Soul Remembers Past Life Regression with Desert Star. September 1st, Jamie comes back with The Bennington Triangle. September 8th, I'm going to do Lizzie Borden. September 15th, we have Hide and Shriek, The Haunting of Hyde Hall. And that is with Chad again. Jamie's going to be back with Bacon's Castle on September 22nd. And September 29th, I'm going to be back with House Fullingen. Going to Germany this time.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Things to look forward to.
Mhm.
Yeah. A lot of good episodes. All right. And if you want to get in contact with us, there's a few ways to do that. You can go to www.jott-nyxparanormal.com. Or if you want to get in contact with us through an email, we do have info@paranormal-lens.com. We also have our link tree. That's linktr.ee/paranormal-lens. And we do have a Buy Me a Coffee. If you want to help support the podcast at all, you can go there by using buymeacoffee.com/paranormal9. Even if you don't, all good. We're still going to be here. We're not going anywhere anytime soon.
Yep. Stefan says lots of cool stuff coming up.
Yes, sir.
We're in spoopy season.
It is happening.
All the good stuff.
Mhm.
We're just getting started.
Yeah.
So,
It's always spooky season here. But yeah, you know.
It is.
yep. So. Well, Jamie, this was a very interesting episode. Again, I hadn't heard of it. Kirstin says she hadn't heard of it, so good job.
Cool. All right.
10 out of 10.
So,
And
Any-
Jamie, you didn't die during it.
I tried not to. I'm struggling right now. You know, like how you build up for something, so I was holding on, but I don't know if the meds are wearing off or whatnot, or the adrenaline's
Good
done
job.
flowing through. But oh my, yeah, I keep muting myself to sniff, so it's terrible. I'll be better next week, I promise. Oh my,
oh, here you go, Jamie. You got your 5 stars.
the check's in the mail. Don't worry, Bert.
So,
I hope Bert. I insert both Bert and Heather in the family. I hope you guys are having a great time down in Virginia. Yeah, get some rest and relaxation in, and of course some spooky stuff if you come across it.
but
So.
she had a comment that she put in. I wasn't going to. It would have covered most of the screen, but they're doing some investigating, so I can't wait to hear what they find.
Exactly.
So
Always an adventure when the Lynches are involved.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thanks, Paula. I will.
So
Thanks for hanging on all the way through this one.
all right. Well, Jamie, thank you for bringing us this. Thank you to all our listeners and people watching us, everybody who visits us. We appreciate it. We can't do it without you. I mean, we could do it without you, but it's not the same. So we really appreciate it. We appreciate everyone who can interact with us on Tuesday night, and look forward to hearing people who catch us later. So, yeah. Looking forward to some fun stuff coming up. So, any other thoughts before we wrap up?
No.
Not at all. Let's go.
All right. Well, some places are remembered for their beauty, others remembered for the suffering they witnessed. Coiba Island may be both. So, until next time, stay alert, stay respectful, and stay curious. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.